So friends, in a first-of-its-kind ruling from a federal judge, the Trump administration was just ordered to arrange for the attorneys who represent a wrongfully deported Venezuelan man who's being held in that prison in El Salvador, arrange for his attorneys to have access to him. That's a first. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, this story may make your blood boil. It does mine. The cruelty and unconstitutionality of the Trump administration is obscene. Here's what the Trump administration did to one apparently entirely innocent young man. Here's the new reporting from NBC News. Headline: Judge orders Trump administration to allow attorneys access to Venezuelan man in Salvadoran prison. And that article begins, a federal judge in Texas ordered the Trump administration Monday to facilitate contact between a Venezuelan man deported to El Salvador and his lawyers, giving the federal government until Wednesday afternoon. It's the first such order in the mounting legal saga surrounding President Donald Trump's use of the Alien Enemies Act to deport hundreds of men to a supermax prison in El Salvador, notorious for human rights abuses. The Terrorism Confinement Center, or CCOT, generally offers zero contact between inmates and the outside world, including their lawyers and families. The order by Judge Keith Ellison of the Southern District of Texas gives the government, the Department of Justice, the Trump administration, 24 hours to confirm the location of the plaintiff, a 24-year-old Venezuelan man, and 48 hours to restore and help maintain attorney-client communication with him. This quote from the attorney: "This shows that the court is as concerned as we are as to the whereabouts of this individual and the illegal justification for his continued detention," said Javier Rivera, the Houston lawyer representing Widmer Josneyder Agelviz Sanguino, the incarcerated Venezuelan man. The Trump administration is expected to appeal the order to the Fifth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. The federal government has been ordered before, including by the Supreme Court, to facilitate the return to the United States of people deported to El Salvador, most notably Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and has argued in response that it has no jurisdiction or ability to do so. Until now, it has not been ordered to facilitate contact between inmates and their lawyers. And friends, listen to these circumstances. The treatment of this young Venezuelan man by the Trump administration. The young man, Agelviz, initially traveled to the United States in September with his mother and two younger brothers as part of the U.S. refugee resettlement program, a process that involves extensive vetting and background checks. When they arrived at the airport in Houston, immigration agents detained Agelviz. Documents reviewed by NBC News show that Agelviz was detained because of a tattoo on his forearm that includes a clock and a rose. Images a Customs and Border Protection agent wrote are associated with the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. The documents show that he had no criminal record and that there was no additional evidence linking him to the gang. This quote from the young man's mother, quote, "My son is not a gang member," said Agelviz's mother, Lisbeth Carolina Sanguino, who is now living in San Antonio with her two other sons. Quote, "He's a young man who's never hurt anyone." Sanguino hired a lawyer to prove her son's innocence in immigration court. But only 2 weeks before the immigration court case was set to be resolved, Agelviz and hundreds of other men from Venezuela were shipped with no warning or court hearings to El Salvador. Attorneys for the men argue that their sudden deportations violated their due process rights, an issue now at the center of legal challenges to return them to the United States and prevent further similar deportations. Advocates and lawyers representing the men in CCOT have found that a majority of them had no criminal records. Many of the wrongfully deported men also did not violate any immigration laws when they came to the United States, according to a recent analysis by the Cato Institute, often crossing the U.S.-Mexican border with appointments through the CBP-1 app. I could not be more ashamed or disgusted by what our country, by what the Trump administration is doing to human beings. Let's recap. People with no criminal records, people for whom there is no evidence of gang affiliation beyond, a tattoo of a rose and a clock? People who did not violate any immigration laws when they came to the United States. People who had their constitutional due process rights of notice and opportunity to be heard blatantly violated, being sent to a prison in El Salvador where we, the American people, are paying to have them jailed. You know, we have entered a dark and dangerous time in America. So friends, the question is, what do we do? There's no easy answer. There's only action. Turn your anger into action. Turn your desperation into determination. Turn your disgust into a decision to get involved. Don't disengage. Engage. Every day, in every way. Because justice matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe. Please stay tuned. And I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.